let's get into the giant mailbag.
What crazy thing did Citi do this week?
It's time for Mattress Running the Numbers. Ready for the main event?
The main event.
Frequent Miler on the Air starts now. Today's main event, amassing American Airlines miles. Last week, we talked about our opinions of loyalty programs going up or down, and we both talked about how much we're enjoying our great big piles of American Airlines miles, but we didn't tell people how they could earn great big piles of American Airlines miles until now.
And everybody wants piles of miles, right?
Everybody wants piles of miles. And so we're going to talk about how you too can get great big piles of American Airlines miles. That was kind of fun to say.
That is kind of fun. So maybe the main event needs to be called Piles of American Airlines.
Great big piles of American Airlines miles. Yeah, maybe we will. Okay, so we are going to mix things up. We have the giant mailbag, but it's going to go after award talk. So let's start with award talk. Nick, I believe you're hanging out in Vegas, baby. What are you doing there?
I am, yeah. Well, so I have a flight out actually of Los Angeles this week, so that's why we figured, let's go out to the West Coast and hang out by the pool for a couple of days. And so on that note, I booked the first couple of days of my stay. I wasn't too concerned about how I booked it because it was before the Hyatt Fast Track promotion was beginning on April 17th. So I had to stay in Las Vegas over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday night, which if you know Las Vegas, you know Saturday can be really expensive. So I was just trying to find the best way to book things that would make the most sense. And in the end, I booked via Airbnb, believe it or not. I booked the Signature at MGM Grand. Now, that might not add up to you because if you're familiar with Vegas, you know the Signature at MGM Grand is an all-suites property. It's 3 towers that sit behind the MGM Grand. But it's part of the MGM Grand. So who would ever think to look on Airbnb? I just stumbled on the fact that some of the units there, some of the suites, it's all suites, studio suites or 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, etc. And some of the units there are individually owned. They must have done timeshare sales at some point and they are rented out as vacation rentals. So of course I tried Vacasa, but there's no Vacasa in Las Vegas, maybe not even in Nevada, I can't remember. But sure enough, on Airbnb, I found plenty of suites at the Signature at MGM that were available via Airbnb. And when you book via Airbnb, unlike most online travel agencies, you don't pay the resort fee. I assume because owners must not pay a resort fee there. So it worked out to be a much better deal. If I had booked directly through MGM, even with my gold status, my rate for 2 nights would have been something like $763. I know, ridiculous. Saturday nights are crazy. But via Airbnb, it was only $365 for those same 2 nights. So it was far cheaper even than booking direct with an MGM discount. And it worked out pretty well. Now, there are some downsides. I'll get to that in a second. But, one of the major downsides would be that you ordinarily would not earn Hyatt Elite credit because you're booking via a third party or, of course, MGM points for that matter. And so I didn't expect to earn anything for the stay, but I was poking around in the MGM app and I saw that there was a way to find a reservation that wasn't automatically listed in the app. And I figured, well, let me see if I can find mine. And it asked for a confirmation number and a name. And Airbnb had given me a confirmation number to provide at the desk when I checked in for my room. So I figured, let's pop that in and see what happens. And sure enough, there it was. It showed right up in the app and it added to my MGM app and as part of my Las Vegas trip. So all of a sudden it was connected to my MGM account, which seemed like good news to me because I figured, well, then maybe I'll get MGM points for this. And if I'm really lucky, I'll end up getting Hyatt Elite credit too. I wasn't sure. So I stopped at the front desk just to ask if my MGM account was added to the reservation. And they looked up my room and they said, yes, it is. And then they seemed a little confused. And they said, normally these owner suites are excluded from earning any sort of MGM rewards. And I said, oh yeah, I just wanted to see if I'd earn points on the incidentals, which is true. I charged a few things to the room and I figured I'd see whether or not I earned anything on that. And sure enough, my tier credits have increased in the app and I haven't done any gambling. So I think anyway, it seems like I'm getting MGM credit for that stay. I can't see a breakdown yet. And of course, I won't see any Hyatt points or Elite Night credit for days, maybe even a week. But I thought that was pretty cool that maybe I'll end up earning Hyatt Elite credit booking via Airbnb.
Right. Plus, the Hyatt Spring promo is still going on, I believe, the bonus journeys. So
right.
You depending on where you are with that, you might either get earn extra points or at least trigger your ability to start earning extra points because it had that weird clause about you get nothing until after your first stay during the promo period.
Right. And that's what I'm hoping for because that would have been my first day. So truthfully,
Okay.
that's what I was hoping that would kick
Yeah.
it off
Yeah.
so that I would earn those points on this. So that's my hope. The other downside, by the way, that I didn't mention in my Instagram stories, I Instagrammed this as it was going on. The other downside I didn't mention is when you book via Airbnb, you don't get daily housekeeping. You have to pay if you want some sort of additional linens or that sort of thing. So that's a potential downside for a short 1 or 2 night stay. Not a big deal though.
Right. All right. And so when booking with Airbnb, I usually look at two things. One is, could I save money by buying gift cards on sale? Airbnb gift cards sometimes are available at some kind of discount. And can I earn extra miles by starting with the British Airways or the Delta website? Did you do either of those things?
So I did do the gift card trick. GC Galore had a post this week about buying Kroger gift cards buying Airbnb gift cards via Kroger's online website. You bought a $200 gift card and got a $25 e-gift card for free, a Kroger e-gift card for free. So I did that. I bought a $200 Airbnb gift card. I'm going to hold on to my $25 Kroger e-gift card for a time when that comes in handy. So I figured that would be nice to save a little bit. I paid the balance with my Venture X card, figuring maybe I'll use miles to erase the rest of that charge. We'll see. I did not start with British Airways. I knew I could have, and I usually do that if I'm going to book an Airbnb. I was just in a hurry hustling to get it booked, and it wasn't worth the hassle to figure out logging into my British Airways account.
Right. It's not like you're going to get points rich with something like that.
Right.
You're only earning one or two. I can't remember what it is. Points per dollar.
And when I say it was $365 for 2 nights, that's including all of Airbnb's fees. So the nightly rate was $94. So we're talking, less than $200. So what a few hundred, British Airways.
A few hundred points, right. All right. So for me, let's see. Actually, no, before I talk about my award talk, the Roame.Travel, that's a free tool. That's a competitor to Point.me and Award Logic. It added a new program that it searches, which is JetBlue. So that's kind of interesting because, for one, you can use American Airlines miles to book JetBlue. So even if you don't have JetBlue points, that might find some things for you that way. But more interesting maybe for a lot of people is that now that JetBlue is flying not just to London, but also to France, to Paris, maybe we'll be able to find Mint. JetBlue Mint is their business class, and it's very, very highly rated. So I'm looking forward to trying that out someday.
Yeah, that would be great. That'd be awesome.
Right. So that's nice. I always like to see these free tools add capabilities. On my end of things, I was doing research for a post on the best ways to book the world's best business class flights. So I previously had published an article on the blog about the same thing, but about how to find the world's best first class flights. So now moving on to business class. And as I was doing that, I was using Seats.Aero, which is not the tool I mentioned earlier, but it's this geeky tool I've talked about before that if you know what you're doing, it's just unbelievably powerful. And I found a whole bunch of Qatar Qsuites awards available next February. So I used my American Airlines miles and booked for my wife and I some flights just in case, because I would love to fly Qsuites. I still haven't, believe it or not. And that was a nice opportunity.
Yeah, that's awesome. My only Qsuites experience was between Dubai and Doha, so I feel like I haven't really done it either. I sat in this seat for an hour, but
right.
That doesn't really count.
Those cities are very close together, so it's not exactly a long flight, but still, you got a taste of it. So you know what to expect, I guess.
Left me wanting more.
Good. Okay, let's get into Giant Mailbag. Today's Giant Mail, we have two pieces of mail. First piece comes from Mark. Mark says, I wanted to point something out about one of the unsung benefits of getting, in quotes, stuck or carrying a balance in a given program's currency, the ability to ladder or float flights without penalty. Example, I'm flying home from point X and genuinely not sure what day I'll want to leave. With enough miles, I can and often do book flights for myself and my wife on consecutive days, or even on the same day with the intention of canceling all but the one I end up using or same day switching from, etc. I call these flight ladders, and it allows me to do it using refundable float of airlines currency without committing cancelable but non-refundable cash. For this reason, I often like having 75,000 to 200,000 of an airline's currency on hand, but not if it's expirable, meaning not if it's the type of airline miles that expire without being able to be renewed through having some use of them. And he says, especially the domestic carriers and Southwest, even if I don't have a current trip on the books. So yeah, I mean, that's that whole idea is a big part of why I think we've been excited about American Airlines miles and to a lesser extent United miles, but also Southwest and Delta when you're originating from North America. But anyway, a lot of these miles now are freely cancelable when you book award flights. And so it's great to do that kind of thing if you have more miles than you need for just the one flight.
Yeah, I thought that was a great like little piece that he wrote because it's so true. I do it all the time, and I didn't even think about talking about that when we discussed it. But yeah, I mean that's a large part of the reason we like having these cancelable currencies, right? I mean, I had to do that with several different flights to get me to the West Coast to position for the flight that I'm really out west here for. And then again, even today as we record this, I wasn't sure what time I was going to want to fly from Las Vegas to Los Angeles. And so I had a couple of backup options also.
There you go. Yeah, I absolutely love that. It's so powerful. And it's true. It has this weird thing where miles become sort of more valuable to you. So normally if you have way more miles than you know what to do with, the incremental value of getting more of those miles is lower because you're probably never going to use those incremental miles. But if you do a lot of this kind of thing, the value of having lots and lots goes up. So sort of that ceiling at which the value goes down gets higher and higher. And so there's a big benefit to getting more and more. And and American, American has moved to, all award flights are freely cancelable, which is fantastic. Second piece of giant mail comes from Jim H. Love your podcast. Can I convert UR points, so Ultimate Rewards points, to Marriott points, getting the 50% bonus? So I guess there's a transfer bonus going on right now. And then transfer the 150,000 Bonvoy points to an airline at 3-to-1. So get 50,000 American Airlines miles. Net result is Ultimate Rewards to AA. It becomes 2-to-1, which is better than the normal 3-to-1. What do you think?
Can you? Yes. Should you? Questionable. Would I? Absolutely not.
Very well said. Why not? Why not?
Well, I mean, because it's just Ultimate Rewards points are so much more valuable to me that they're more valuable to me than American Airlines miles straight off the bat. So even a 1-to-1, I might do if they were a 1-to-1 transfer partner. But if I were comparing the value of one Ultimate Reward point versus one American Airlines mile, I would more highly value an Ultimate Rewards point to begin with. So 2 Ultimate Rewards points for only 1 American Airlines mile, it just seems like a poor value proposition. Now, of course, I have that perspective in part because of Hyatt, because I can get far more value with Hyatt points for my hotel stays. But then the other piece of that is I wouldn't want to do that because there are so many other ways to earn American Airlines miles that I would use one of the multitude of other ways that we're going to talk about today to amass some miles. Unless you really needed them like right now for something important, then I would work on amassing American Airlines miles differently and using Ultimate Rewards points for uses that are highly more valuable than 2-to-1 there.
Yeah. Plus, if what you're looking for is great flight awards, United, Chase transfers 1-to-1 to United. United also has free cancellations. They don't necessarily have, they don't have the same partners. They have more partners than American, I think, because of the
Yeah,
Star
they do.
Alliance is much bigger. They have somewhat comparable, I guess, business class award pricing. It's a bit higher than American, but not hugely
Not two to
more.
one, not 2 to 1 higher.
It's not 2 to 1 higher. That's right. That's right. So yeah, if I was gonna dump my UR into a airline program prospectively, I don't know why I would, but if I was going to, I'd much prefer to do it 1 to 1 to United than 2 to 1 to American for sure.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're topping off for a very specific, we're looking to do this trip and we need 50,000 more miles for that, and we can't wait for a new credit card bonus or one of
Yeah,
the other different ways we're going to talk about today. I couldn't see doing it. So yes, can it be done? Of course it can be, but should it be done? Probably not. Now, if you were talking about doing that to some more obscure currency where you're going to get higher value, maybe. I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but if you wanted something like Asiana miles for some specific purpose that I'm not thinking of right now, and you can't get them any other way, maybe. But with American, there's so many other ways to get the miles. I just wouldn't consider that.
totally agree. Okay. Now, next step is card talk.
Card talk.
There we go.
Sorry, I missed my cue there.
Yeah. No, that was good. That was good makeup there.
Thank you.
Yeah. Today we're going to do something a little different with card talk, which is we're not just going to talk about one card. We're going to talk about, oh boy, a whole slew of cards. 7 of them, I think. Well, we'll see.
It's like a traffic jam of cards here for card talk.
So what we decided to do was talk about all the American Airlines cards that are on the market in the U.S., which is quite a few because both Citibank and Barclays issue American Airlines cards. So we're going to give a quick overview of each one, and let's start with the fee-free AAdvantage MileUp card.
Great place to start. So no annual fee. You do unfortunately get hit with foreign transaction fees, so this is not a good card to use overseas. But while you're here in the United States anyway, it earns 2 miles per dollar on grocery and also on American Airlines purchases. That can be pretty useful. 2 miles per dollar on grocery. That's obviously a category a lot of people spend in, and there's no cap on that as far as I know. So that's decent. Keep in mind, though, you're only going to earn 1 loyalty point per dollar spent, even though you get 2 redeemable miles per dollar at the grocery store. You only get 1 loyalty point per dollar spent. That's a base mile thing. So you earn on the base miles, not on the category bonuses when it comes to loyalty points. That's true on all of the various American Airlines cards in general. And then, of course, you'll save 25% on in-flight food and beverage with that card, just the same as you would with some of the other cards. So, that's a benefit you get with no fee with this one. It would come on all of the other cards too, but if you're concerned with keeping it fee-free, the MileUp card can be useful, or it could be good for an American Airlines portfolio anyway for the 2 miles per dollar at the grocery store. Not the best return, but not terrible return on grocery.
Right. All right. So that's the fee-free card. So we're not going to mention the 25% in-flight food and beverage purchase credit for the rest of the cards, since you just know now all of them have it. And just one note about loyalty points is American Airlines lets you earn elite status by earning miles, but you have to be earning loyalty points when you earn those miles. And so you can earn any level of elite status with enough spend on this card because you do earn 1 loyalty point per dollar. Okay.
Right. So if you spent $30,000 on this card at the grocery store, then you would earn 60,000 redeemable miles, the 2x, but you'd earn 30,000 loyalty points because you earn 1 loyalty point per dollar spent, and that would give you American Airlines Gold status.
That's a great way to put it. Exactly. And that is also, that basic idea is true with all of the rest of the cards we're going to talk about as well. So we're not going to talk about loyalty points anymore, except when you could earn extra loyalty points above the 1 mile per dollar. All right. Next card up is the AAdvantage Platinum Select MasterCard. They're all MasterCards. I'll stop saying MasterCard. This one is $99 a year, and it has no foreign transaction fees, which is also true of all the rest of the cards we're going to talk about. No foreign transaction fees. This one gives you 2x at restaurants and at gas stations, and of course on American Airlines itself, 1x everywhere else. Same as the MileUp card, you just get one loyalty point per dollar. This card also throws in a $125 American Airlines flight discount once you spend $20,000 on this card. So nice little, credit there if you spend enough. And then some standard benefits, which are also true of all the rest of the cards we're going to talk about. First check bag free, priority boarding, and yeah. So those two things again. We don't have to mention those for the rest of the cards. You get free check bag and priority boarding for all of the rest of the cards we're going to talk about.
And it's probably worth mentioning the free first check bag applies to you and a number of companions on the same reservation. So if you're traveling with a family, you're not going to only get one bag, you get one bag per person. So that's potentially a decent savings if you're traveling on American Airlines miles. Now, the the $125 discount after 20,000 spent, I have a hard time imagining the scenarios where it makes sense to spend $20,000 on these cards. However, if you're spending a lot on American Airlines, of course, you may want to use this card in order to earn American Airlines miles. Flip side of that is you're not going to have the same travel protections that you would using another card. So I'd be a little hesitant to spend a ton on flights with a card that has no travel protection. So then that narrows you down to restaurants and gas. And it's not a reasonable return at 2x, but it's not the best return at 2x either. So I guess I could see the situation perhaps, especially if you've opened the card and you've done the spending for the welcome bonus, then maybe spending the rest on restaurants and gas would make sense in order to get elite status and that $125 discount.
I'd say in general across this entire board of American Airlines cards, they're mostly good for their perks or for spending towards elite status. So if you highly value elite status, then it can make sense to spend on these cards. But in general, the spending bonuses pale compared to what's available from other cards. And so sort of like our earlier discussion about whether you'd want to trade Ultimate Rewards points 2-to-1 to American Airlines, same idea. Wouldn't you prefer to earn, 3 Ultimate Rewards at restaurants instead of 2 with 2 American Airlines miles? And I would
4 Amex points with a gold card.
Exactly.
At restaurants. So there's a lot of different options to earn better. The thing that makes this interesting is we're going to talk about a whole bunch of different cards here. And so you could earn welcome bonuses on multiple different cards. And so really that's where you're going to earn a nice infusion of miles all at once is the welcome bonuses on these cards.
Right. And we'll discuss the strategies there in a few minutes once we get through card talk. Next card up is the Citibusiness AAdvantage card.
Yeah, so the Citibusiness card, $99 annual fee, no foreign transaction fees. You earn 2 miles per dollar on American Airlines purchases, at gas stations, on telecom purchases, and also on car rental merchants. And then you get a similar sort of a benefit. Maybe similar isn't the right way to put it. After you spend $30,000 on this card, you get a $99 plus taxes domestic companion certificate. So you can bring somebody with you on an American Airlines reservation for $99 plus the taxes. Again, you get that companion certificate after you spend $30,000 on this card in a calendar year.
Yep, very good. Next up in the Citibank lineup is the American Airlines Executive card. This one is the $450 card, which it gives you 2 points per dollar just on American Airlines purchases. That's it, 1x everywhere else. But its big key benefit is Admirals Club access. So that's American Airlines lounges. And so you get access both for primary and authorized users. And what's super cool there is you can have up to 10 free authorized users. So they each get their own Admirals Club access. So this is kind of an incredible way. If you have like a family who travel separately now and then, and everybody would like to have Admirals Club access, you could literally just have one of these cards that you pay for and get everybody authorized user cards so that they get Admirals Club access. So before we go on to the other benefits, I should mention that Admirals clubs are known to be not quite the best lounges in the world.
That's a very diplomatic way of saying that you shouldn't overvalue this because they're kind of crummy.
Well said. There have been some press releases about them renovating their lounges. So in time, maybe that'll change. But
Maybe.
yeah, well, let's hope.
Maybe.
Let's hope.
I think anything's possible, I guess. I'm in Las Vegas, so right now I'd say, oh, yeah, anything is possible.
You're not ready to
Might be
put
the
down a lot of
house.
money betting
Sure,
on it.
yeah.
Is that right?
No, I probably wouldn't. If they were taking bets on the Admirals Club lounges becoming something really special, I wouldn't be betting on it. I mean, not to say that they're all bad. Obviously, the flagship ones are probably nice, but I don't know. The Admirals Clubs I've been in my time anyway have not wowed me. So
Yeah.
let's put it that way. But at the same time, it beats being out in the terminal. Probably you do get something free to eat and something free to drink. It might be peanuts, but it's something anyway. So it could be worth it for having a nice quiet place to work while you're in the airport and get a little bit of something in the lounge. So certainly if you've got a number of people and you're sharing this, then I could see where this starts to make sense. I wouldn't probably be excited about buying an Admirals Club membership on its own, but if you're combining forces with your friends or family, great.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And if you're interested in elite status, this card gives you an additional 10,000 loyalty points after you spend $40,000 in purchases. So, you would not only earn gold status after the first 30,000 in purchases, but you'd be well on your way towards the next level, which is platinum status once you complete 40,000, because then you have 10,000 more. So a total of 50,000 loyalty points. Also gives you $100 global entry or TSA or $85 or whatever TSA pre-check costs these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's nice.
yeah.
So, I mean, those things are good especially if you don't have other cards that reimburse those things, then great. So, yeah, I don't know. The A exec card, I think, makes sense for a lot of people. I did mention when we talked about the business card a second ago that, one of the advantages, of course, is that it's a business card. So it won't add to your 524 count. And when we get to the application rules, the business card is treated separately from the other cards. So we'll, I'm sure, come back to that too. But yeah, so there's a little something for everyone in the Citi portfolio, right? From a fee-free card to a $450 card, business card. Citi's really got you covered with whichever kind of American Airlines card you're looking for.
Yeah, except no travel protections, as you mentioned before. Citi dumped all their travel
That's the big bummer.
protections a few years ago, and strange decision, but there you go. All
Yeah,
right.
I don't even think they have car rental coverage, right? So you get 2 miles per dollar in car rentals on one of these, and I was
would never do that.
Why would I ever use that for a car rental? Like, come
Right.
on. I guess if you're going to pay for the insurance, or maybe you're using a corporate code where the insurance is already included, then it doesn't matter to you, I guess. So I guess maybe there's some scenarios where it makes sense.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right, let's go over. Barclays has a whole lineup of cards as well. Why don't you talk about the Aviator Red?
The AAdvantage Aviator Red World Elite MasterCard it has a $99 annual fee, so very similar to the World Elite MasterCard from Citi, 2 miles per dollar on American Airlines purchases. You have a domestic companion certificate here. So now on the Citi side, when we talked about the Platinum Select card, you get a $125 discount after you spend $20,000 in a membership year. That was on the Citi side. But on the Barclays side, with the Aviator Red card, you earn one of those companion certificates after the same $20,000 spend. So it's $99 plus tax domestic companion certificate. And given the way that airfares have gone these last couple of years, that would probably be more valuable to me than the $125 discount. And so that's, I think, an interesting potential thing there. And then you get a $25 Wi-Fi credit per membership year. So if you're paying for Wi-Fi on American Airlines flights, you get a credit there. And I say if you're paying for Wi-Fi on American Airlines flights because I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure that T-Mobile has added the ability to get free Wi-Fi. Now, I don't know who else gets free Wi-Fi on American Airlines, but I know we talked on an earlier show about how we see it trending more towards free Wi-Fi in the long run. So I don't know how long that a credit will be useful. But for now, I suppose it probably is. And of course,
Yeah,
first check bag free and everything
yeah.
else.
I think for now it is. Delta has started offering free Wi-Fi to Delta members, which is free to join. So, of
Right.
course, you would do that on many flights. I don't think it's on all yet. And I don't know where. I haven't heard much about it from
I don't know
American
where
doing that.
American
So
is. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
I know that T-Mobile. In the past I have gotten free Wi-Fi on some American Airlines flights, but I think it depends on the provider of the internet service. So I never know which one's going to have Wi-Fi and which one's not. But so there you go, $25 Wi-Fi credit for what it's worth. Probably not worth talking more about that. You can save $25. So that's the Aviator Red, but that's not the only Aviator card. There's also another color, Greg.
There is. There's the Aviator Silver, which you can't sign up for. So why are we
So
even
why are we even
about
talking
this one?
about that? Yeah. So you can't sign up for it. And the bummer there is that you can't earn any kind of an intro bonus on this,
Right,
right? There's
right.
no welcome, no sign up bonus on this. But go ahead. Tell us about it. What's the deal? Why would I
So
want it?
yeah, well, first of all, I think you could get it if you have the red, then you might get an invite to upgrade to the silver, and you might want it because it costs $100 more. Well, actually, 90 something dollars more,
Right.
$195.
Is that a reason I might want it, Craig?
You have too much disposable money, so you want to
Right.
get rid of a little bit
Right.
more.
Okay.
And it earns 3 points per dollar on American Airlines instead of two.
Oh.
So, ooh.
Mhm.
2x hotel and car rentals. But here it gets a little more interesting. Up to 15,000 bonus loyalty points each year. You get 5,000 bonus when you complete $20,000 spend. You get another 5,000 at $40,000 spend, and then the final 5,000 at $50,000 spend. So, you could get you get extras that way. I think you'd be
Yeah.
very close. I forget exactly what the tier is for platinum status to get platinum status,
75. So this will
but
give you 65.
yeah, so you get 65 with
Yeah.
50,000 spend. And boy, if you also had the Citi Executive card and spent the 40,000 there, then you're a little bit over 100,000, 115,000 total loyalty points each year from
Wait,
spending on both those cards.
you can have both?
You can, yeah. My understanding is you can't have two. Well, no, you can probably get two of either one of these, but you can't earn these bonuses twice on a single type of card. So, for example, if you have two executive cards, which there's absolutely no reason to have two executive cards, unless you, again, want to spend more money for no reason, you can't, spend 50,000 on each one and hope to get the bonuses, the loyalty point bonuses on both. All right. This one also throws in a companion cert after $20,000 spend. So you're getting quite a few things with $20,000 spend. So if you're really into AA, I think this is a really solid option. $50 Wi-Fi credit per membership year. So double the Wi-Fi credit. And it throws in $25 per day in-flight food and beverage credit. $25 per day.
Per day? What?
So if you fly American Airlines every single day, you can charge up to $25 in food. Well, you can charge whatever you want, but up to $25 in food and beverage that you charge to your card while flying AA will get reimbursed. So, boy, if you fly every day, you can earn a ton of money back just by being eating.
I mean, that could easily make the card pay for itself. I mean, and we could laugh about flying every single day, but really, I mean, I don't know about you, but sometimes I get hungry on those flights, and of course, you don't get much of anything anymore. So, and they often don't have meals even for purchase, but they do have those snack boxes and stuff like that. So, I don't know. Actually, I think that this could pay for itself, or help the card pay for itself pretty quickly.
Yeah. Although if you are flying every single day, you're probably going to be upgraded to first class where like drinks are free at least. And you are going to get some kind of snack for free. But
that's true.
but yeah, I think just for a sort of medium level flyer, you can do pretty well with it. That'd be a nice extra anyway. So yeah, I actually I like the idea of this card a lot for a American Airlines fan, someone who flies a reasonable amount with American, values loyalty points, so values elite status, The only thing it doesn't give you is that AA lounge access. But the rest of it's looking pretty
How
good.
much are you missing there? How much are you missing there? I don't know. American Airlines fans are gonna call me out for hating on the lounge, but yeah. I don't know. I like this one. I think this is probably a pretty good card for somebody who's a big fan. I'm not really sure. I guess I'd be interested in your thoughts on this, and you probably won't be able to do it just off the top of your head, but like, is it worth spending 20 or 40 or $50,000 on this card? Obviously, if you value status, but how much are you giving up in order to spend that much? Obviously, if you would otherwise earn welcome bonuses, you're giving up a lot. But let's say you get
Right.
enough spend to meet whatever welcome bonuses on whatever other cards. So how much is it costing you versus like a 2% cash back card to buy these loyalty points essentially by spending on this card instead of
Yeah.
another card I'd be
Well,
interested in?
I mean, arguably the first 20,000 is you're probably coming out ahead if you're going to use that domestic companion cert to good
That's
value,
true.
right? Because
That's
that
true.
that
Yeah.
could be quite a bonus. The rest of it, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, it is worth, questioning that, but again, I
But
keep saying if you highly
sure.
value elite status because
Yeah.
those loyalty points, if they're, let's just say, make the math easy. Let's say a redeemable mile is worth 1 cent to you each, and a loyalty point is worth 1 cent to you each. Then you're getting about 2% value. So
Yeah.
it's roughly similar to a
Pretty
two
cool.
percent cashback card in that way.
Okay. All right, there you go. There you have it. Straight from Greg, the frequent miler.
Yep.
So that's the Aviator Silver card. Then, of course, there's also one more Aviator card we haven't talked about yet today. That's the Advantage Aviator Business card. So
Yep.
there's also a business version of this. This is similar to the Aviator Red. It's just a business version of that Aviator Red card. So $95 annual fee, no foreign transaction fees. You get a 5% mileage bonus. Now, that's 5% on your base earnings on this card. Is that right, Craig? Am I remembering that correctly? Do you know? Or is it
You know what?
5%?
I look quickly at the website for the app, the application landing page website, and it sort of implied that it was on all miles earned from the card, but then in the terms and
Okay.
conditions, it sounded more like it was the base mile. So I'm not really sure, but
One way or another, it probably doesn't make a hugely consequential difference in terms of how
exactly.
much it's going to be worth. So
Right.
5% bonus on whatever you earn on the card. So small thing there. Then of course it earns 2 miles per dollar on American Airlines purchases, but also 2 miles per dollar on office supplies, telecoms, car rentals, and 1x everywhere else. So it's very similar to the Citibusiness card in that regard. And again, the $99 companion certificate with 30,000 spend during your account year. So
Mhm.
very very similar to the Citibusiness card, right? Except for I guess the 5% mileage bonus is an addition here, but how much
Yeah.
difference that's going to make, I don't know.
Right, right. So to sort of sum up the two things that, Citi is the only one that has the fee-free card, the MileUp card, but otherwise, what they both have are these 95 to $99 cards that are personal cards and business cards. So both
Mm-hmm.
programs, both banks have a $100 ish personal card and $100 ish business card, and then both of them have premium cards, whereas Citi has that exec card that includes lounge access, and Barclays has the silver card, which includes more ways to get credits back and to earn loyalty points.
Yeah. So there's a fascinating array of American Airlines cards, and so that's I think quite a bit of opportunity anyway to earn some American Airlines miles. Now, are we going to talk about application rules for these here, or are we going to save that for the main event?
I think we're ready for the main event. So, I think the first topic in the main event has got to be signing up for cards. So, all right, main event time. Amassing American Airlines miles. What's the single best way to do that, Nick?
Well, the single best way is through credit card welcome bonuses. So, of course, we just talked about all of those various credit cards, and many of them come with a significant number of miles, and the requirements change and vary, as do the bonuses. But oftentimes on the Barclays side, you can earn a bonus with the Aviator Red card with a single purchase. So that's a really easy American Airlines bonus to earn in many cases. On the Citi side, you'll have to spend something to trigger the welcome bonuses, but sometimes they're a little bit higher on the Citi side. So you got quite a few different cards, but then of course there are rules about how often you can earn these bonuses and which ones you can have. So on the Citi side, the rule for consumer cards, and correct me if I misspeak on this, but the rule on the consumer side is you can earn one welcome bonus every 48 months on
Right.
the consumer side, right? So it's got to be 48 months since your last welcome bonus or 48 months since you last closed one of these cards, Greg.
They no longer have the closed part of it, so it's just since your last welcome bonus. So
So if you opened one of them today, one of the consumer cards today, then you wouldn't be eligible for another welcome bonus for 48 months from whenever you earn the bonus.
right, right. But since there's so and Barclays has less clear rules about how often you can sign up, but even if you only do one of those every 48 months, just like Citi, which I think you could do them more often than that. But um, we're talking about Citi has three out of their four cards regularly have big welcome bonuses of around 70 or 75K when they're at their higher level. Executive card sometimes is higher than that. And then Barclays has the red and the business card that often have good sign up bonuses. So you're talking about what, five different cards that have five that have these big welcome bonuses. So 5 times 70K is what, 300,000 points that are available to get just from sign up bonuses. Not that's if pick them out when the bonuses are around 70K or higher.
Yeah, I think it's 350, right? And so yeah, but the point is that you can
Oh
earn
yeah.
lots and lots of miles through those bonuses, and even if you spread them out a little bit because you got that 48-month rule, you spread out your Citi and Barclays applications, you can put together a decent number of miles with just the consumer cards. But then those application rules do not necessarily affect the business cards, so you can still get the Citi business card even if you have recently earned the welcome bonus on one of the consumer cards. And that Citi business card again often comes with a bonus when it hits its high point in the 70 or 80,000 mile range, and so that can be a nice combo because between the two cards you can earn a decent amount. And so really, if you did one Citi consumer card, the Citi business card, the Barclays Aviator red card, and then a Barclays Aviator business card within the course of a year or two, you could end up with a fair bucket of American Airlines miles just with those 3 or 4 welcome bonuses.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're doing this in two-player mode, so for example, if your spouse is also willing to sign up for cards, they can also sign up for them, earn the welcome bonuses. American doesn't allow you to pool your points, so you'd have your points in separate accounts. It's not worth paying to move them because that'll cost too much. But still, there's no reason you can't book flights, you know, even for yourself from player two's account, right? And even if you have elite status, let's say, and some people have asked that, like, if my spouse books my flight for me, will I still get my elite benefits for the flight? Absolutely.
Yeah, and so actually that's a good point here. So to rerun the math on this, so if you did one consumer and one business from Citi, one consumer, one business from Barclays, that's 4 cards. If we have an average welcome bonus of 70,000 miles, that's 280,000 miles in one player mode. Now you play the game in two-player mode and you double that, so you're at 560,000 miles that you could potentially earn this year, right? More than 500,000 miles. That if you can meet the welcome bonus requirements on 4 cards between you and player two, that's more than 500,000 American Airlines miles in 1 year. And like Greg said, you could still get your elite benefits and everything once you put your American Airlines number on it. That's actually a pretty quick pile of miles, right?
It really is. So I think that's just it's just a great way to earn miles quickly is with the welcome bonuses, of course. And you know, one thing we didn't mention is that American Airlines is a bit harder than some of the other programs to mass points quickly because they are not one-to-one transfer partners from any of the major bank point programs. And that's why, going directly to the American Airlines card is the way to go. And it's also why it's really great that there are so many American Airlines cards. So there's almost always at least one card that has a enhanced bonus going on. And so it's good to jump on those when they are.
For sure. Now, like Greg said, they aren't transfer partners with Chase or Amex or Citi. though Citi has a couple of times offered short-term opportunities, or at least one time anyway, to transfer Citi thank you points to American Airlines miles. Whether or not we'll ever see them offer that again, I don't know. Obviously, people have wanted it for years and years. I'm sure Citi knows that people have wanted that for years and years, and they offered it for a brief time. Whether or not they're going to bring it back, I don't know, but we can hope that someday they'll allow transfers from Citi thank you points again. But there is one card that you can transfer from, and that's the Built MasterCard. So if you're renting an apartment and the Built card makes sense for you because you can earn 1 point per dollar on your rent, you can transfer those points to American Airlines. You're not going to earn tons of miles this way. It's not anywhere near the same as these other cards we're talking about where you can earn a huge welcome bonus right up front. However, it's worth knowing anyway that the Built card does transfer one-to-one to American Airlines miles. It offers a better return on dining spend than what you're going to get with any of these American Airlines cards. So that's one to keep in mind to supplement with here, and no annual fee on that card. So that's another one that's, again, not an American Airlines mile card, but you can earn points that transfer to American Airlines with it.
Right, right. And it has better category bonuses than some of these American Airlines cards,
Yeah.
and they have their rent day promos where you can earn even more points, and of course earning points by paying rent even when your landlord only accepts cash as rent is an amazing way to earn extra points that can transfer to American Airlines. So yeah, I actually I kind of temporarily forgot that when I was saying there are no major programs that transfer one-to-one.
Right. I figured. That's why I figured I'd jump in with it. And I think the point that you just made, Craig, is one that we haven't really hammered home on the show ever, about the fact that even if your landlord doesn't take a credit card, that doesn't matter. You can pay your rent via ACH with Built and still earn 1 point per dollar.
Yeah.
So and that's something that I think maybe we've mentioned in passing once or twice, but I imagine a lot of people have missed. They've just thought, oh, my landlord doesn't take a credit card, so the Built card isn't for me. And that's not necessarily the case. So you do have to make 5 transactions a month on the card in order to earn points on anything. So you'd have to do some other stuff. But like you said, rent day, you earn double points on other things, and the category bonuses are better. So, and the travel protections are better too. So if you're going to book paid travel, it might make more sense to use the Built card than one of these American Airlines cards. Now, there are lots of cards that have good travel protections, so there are other options on the market too. But again, if you're talking about earning American Airlines miles, I think the Built card is something to consider.
It really is. You're not going to earn loyalty points when you transfer points into American. You don't get loyalty points for that, but otherwise, it's definitely a better bet for your spend. Going briefly back to the sign-up bonuses, I do want to mention that the 48-month rule, it's not a family rule. So at times, Citi has had rules that say all of the cards that are in the same family, you can only sign up, earn a welcome bonus once in 48 months or 24 months, whatever the rule was at the time. But they no longer have that for most of their cards. So you could, literally go through Citi's whole lineup of cards and cycle through that whole lineup again 48 months later from each one. So that's a pretty good, pretty good option.
For sure. So, I mean, you really hit the gas pedal and accelerate. I mean, I talked about earning $500,000 in 2-player mode with one consumer card on each side and one business card on each side. But if you hit up all the various consumer cards, then, obviously add far more miles. So there's really, nothing that compares to credit card welcome bonuses in terms of the speed of amassing a huge amount of miles. Those are really going to be your ticket to amassing a lot. Now, we probably should mention that there were some shutdowns a couple of years back on these cards, people that were opening tons of the same card with different, offers. And so I know that some people are shut out of these cards, and that stinks. But for those that are still eligible, that was probably a short-term thing that if you don't know what we're talking about, then probably it wasn't going to ever affect you. But it's something you may read about in comments. So I figure it's worth a mention that did happen. But those were people in general who are using mailer offers and for the most part opening a bunch of the same card, kind of getting around the rule, so to speak. Right. So that's kind of a different thing than what we're talking about.
Exactly. You are not going to get shut down for signing up for, each of the different cards in quick succession. That would not be a problem at all. And I'm not necessarily saying it has to be quickly. Like a good option could be sign up for one and then a year later sign up for a different one and, close the first one. That way you have continual free check bags, for example, when flying American. And, so it's a little bit slower way, but it's a way to rotate through them.
Very good. Okay, so cards. That's certainly one way that you can earn lots and lots of miles. But it's not the only way, right? There are lots of other ways to earn American Airlines miles too. So if you're trying to amass American Airlines miles and get your own pile of miles, what are some of the other options? We got shopping options up first, I think, right? So how can you
Yeah.
earn miles shopping?
Yeah. So, American has their own shopping portal, which what it means is if you're going to be buying something online, whatever merchant you want to buy from might be available through the Advantage shopping portal. So let's say you're going to buy something at Macy's.com, you find them on the Advantage shopping portal, and you can earn extra points by clicking through there, still paying the same amount as you would on Macy's.com as you would have if you'd gone directly. But the end result is then you earn these extra miles. And for the most part, you also earn loyalty points as well. So if you see in the Advantage shopping portal, it says earn 10 points per dollar for Macy's. And by the way, those payouts change all the time. So I can't tell you, oh, it's going to say
Right.
2 or
Right.
5 or 10. You have to look and it changes. But whatever it says, even if it says this is a special short-term special deal to get 10 points per dollar, you're also going to get 10 loyalty points per dollar by clicking through and getting it that way.
Yeah, yeah. So that I think is an underrated thing, and I say underrated. I think that we talk about it a fair amount, but I think that for a lot of people, it's underrated that you can earn both redeemable miles and elite status just by shopping through the portal. Depending on how much money you spend and what the payouts are, because sometimes the payouts do reach fairly high amounts. And so, if I have a major purchase to make, it's always something I consider. Now, there's lots of other portals to consider. So you want to go to cashbackmonitor.com and check payouts at different sites because you may be able to earn more on other portals. We've talked a ton about the targeted offers on Capital One Shopping this year. So American Airlines shopping portal isn't always going to be your best bet, but sometimes it is. Sometimes I go through the American Airlines portal for those payouts. So that's the first piece of it, is you can earn 1 redeemable mile and 1 loyalty point per mile earned through those regular payouts. But then there, of course, are also short-term bonuses. And when we talk about the short-term bonuses, we're only talking about redeemable miles here. They'll offer bonuses like this week, spend $500 and you'll get 1,500 bonus miles. And when they run that kind of a deal, you can spend $500 cumulatively amongst however many merchants you want to spend your money over, and you'll get an additional 1,500 bonus miles. Those miles are only the redeemable miles. They are not loyalty points. When they offered that sort of short-term bonus that generally applies to all of your spend across stores through the portal, and those bonuses post really slowly. So if you're counting on those for some sort of a redemption, don't expect them for a while. It tends to take like 2 months after those things end before those bonuses actually post. But it is another way to earn a few more miles. Sometimes those bonuses are as high as 5,000 miles, like spend X and spend $1,500 and get an additional 5,000 miles. So I always figure, okay, well, if it's something like that where you spend $1,500 and get 5,000 bonus miles, it's like a little bit more than an extra 3 miles per dollar spent. So I'll just do that math and add 3 extra miles per dollar spent to whatever it is I'm looking at, assuming I'm going to spend the $1,500.
Yep. Okay, next one up is SimplyMiles. It's sort of like a portal. It has a similar type of stores on there, merchants where you'll earn extra American Airlines miles and loyalty points by shopping it, but it works different. You don't click through SimplyMiles to the merchant. Instead, what you do is you link your MasterCard, and all the American Airlines miles cards are MasterCards, but you could link any MasterCards, not just Advantage ones. And when you activate a promotion that says you get extra miles for a purchase at this merchant, it watches your credit card and will assign those extra points when you fulfill whatever the terms are. One really cool thing is that sometimes both the Advantage shopping portal and SimplyMiles have the same merchant. And so you can literally, make sure that your offer is activated in SimplyMiles, make sure your credit card is linked to SimplyMiles, and click through the Advantage shopping portal. And so you double dip that way by getting bonus points from both of these, and you earn loyalty points from both.
Yeah, that's great. I think the stacking opportunities there are particularly interesting when there's an opportunity to card link an offer. So Simply Miles, think of as being like sort of like Amex offers or Chase offers that you can link to any MasterCard. So there are card linked offers, so you just have to use that card at checkout in order to earn that bonus. And yeah, so clicking through the American Airlines portal and earning that bonus on the Simply Miles side at the same time is awesome. And then sometimes you can stack a little bit further for savings.
Yeah,
Like, for instance, if you're using one of your Citi American Airlines cards, you might want to check for Citi merchant offers, which are sort of like Citi's version of Amex offers, because you can sync that up through your Citi account,
right.
have your Citi MasterCard linked to your Simply Miles account, and then click through American Airlines shopping and earn all of those things at once.
Exactly, exactly. And I'll say further, while it's not all that often that I find the same merchant on the American Airlines portal and on Simply Miles, very often I find the same one on Simply Miles and Citi merchant offers. They seem to be drawing from the same pool of possibilities, let me say. And so the nice thing there is, with merchant offers, you save money, and then with Simply Miles, you earn miles, and both of those things stack together, which is great.
Very good. Okay, so shopping. Those are some ways to earn on your shopping spend. That's good. But of course, if you do all that shopping and you're going to start to get a little bit hungry, so how can you earn miles when you're dining?
Yeah, well, just like all the yeah, airline loyalty programs, there's a dining program where you link your card to the dining program and you earn bonus points at certain restaurants. Um, I I so rarely do this myself because there are so few restaurants that I go to that actually show up on these. But it is really fun when you could either be hunting them out, or you could just sort of accidentally be dining somewhere and get an email that says congratulations, you earned bonus points. But I personally wouldn't go out of my way to a restaurant to earn bonus points this way. Um, but you absolutely can earn points. It's worth realizing, though, you can't link the same credit card to multiple of these dining programs. So if you've already set up with Uniteds or Deltas or whatever, you're going to have to switch to this one if you'd prefer to earn American miles.
Yep, yep. But I do like this because it is a nice surprise. Like you said, I never
Yeah.
bother seeking out the restaurants anymore. Although I have at an occasion, I think, when I've not really cared where I'm going to eat, I've taken a look and, oh, I can earn some extra miles this way. Especially true if it's like a group meal of some sort and we don't really care where we're going to eat. It's more for the ability to get together than it is for the food itself. And then I might look for something like this. Rare occasion that I would do that. But it is just a nice surprise when you find out, oh, I earned some extra miles on that meal. Awesome. So that's nice. There was something else I thought I was going to add to that, but I guess I forgot it. So, all right, you went shopping, you ate something. Now it's time to rest your head. So, how are you going to earn miles on your hotels when you need to check in and book a stay?
Yeah. Well, let me talk first about both Rocket Miles and BookAAHotels because they're pretty similar. In both cases, these are third-party hotel, search tools, sort of like Expedia or whatever. The difference is that when you book a hotel through them, you earn some number of American Airlines miles. With Rocket Miles, you can actually pick which kind of miles you want to earn, but you can earn American as one of the options. And the downsides of booking through these third parties are the same as when we've talked about, like the issues of booking through, let's say, the Chase portal. When you book a hotel, you're not going to earn um, hotel points if you're staying at a chain hotel. You're not going to earn elite credit if you're staying at a chain hotel. So there's those downsides. In this case, also, you've got to look at pricing because very often the final price is going to be considerably higher than what you could get elsewhere for the same hotels, but not always. It varies a lot. And so sometimes they have like promotional number of miles you can earn but for staying at this hotel, and the price isn't that bad, and so it can be, under the right circumstances, a really good way to earn sometimes a big chunk of miles, and even loyalty points, all at once.
Yeah. I think it's potentially intriguing for the loyalty point side. Actually, I had on Instagram this week. I had done a little like pop quiz contest of sorts to see if anybody would guess that I booked my stay at the Signature at MGM Grand via Airbnb. I talked about earlier during award talk, and a couple of people guessed that I booked through Rocketmiles or BookAAHotels, which I had totally forgotten about until somebody mentioned that. So this is well after the fact. I hadn't even checked those sites. Now, I hadn't checked those sites, and part of me was like, oh, I should have checked those sites. And the other part of me was immediately like, yeah, they never would have beaten the deal, because I know in general their prices are going to be probably a little bit higher, but I think that's almost a certainty with MGM properties, because when you have an MGM account, they almost always charge significantly less booking direct than you'll find with an online travel agency. And I think the maximum number of miles you can earn per night is 10,000 miles per night. So that wouldn't have been enough to make up the difference in my case. However, if you're staying at a boutique property, or you're staying someplace where, again, you don't really care about elite benefits, there's no resort fee that your elite status is going to wipe out, or it's an overnight stay somewhere where you don't just need the room for the night, then it's worth checking, because like you said, sometimes those short-term bonuses can make it worthwhile. Now, that's not the only way with hotels. You also have partnerships. So American Airlines has a partnership with Hyatt, and you'll earn 1 American Airlines mile per dollar spent at Hyatt. I always forget about this until I have the rare paid stay with Hyatt, and all of a sudden I see a few extra miles in my American Airlines miles account. But that's a nice surprise.
It is.
And Hyatt's not the only one.
So
they all.
What's the deal with Marriott? I don't actually remember this. You have in your notes, so we get 2 miles per dollar.
Well, I do. And so, the interesting thing there is that I didn't know this was the thing until I was looking up ways to earn miles. And so I wondered, so I was going to say, I don't think we've reported this. When I wrote this down, I thought to myself, well, I should say I don't think we've reported this. And then I said to myself, well, I don't know. Sometimes I forget about the things that I've reported on. So
yeah,
maybe we did, and I just have forgotten about it. But yeah, on the American Airlines site, it says you can link up your Marriott count and earn 2 miles per dollar spent at Marriott. So they have a partnership apparently with Marriott as well.
I'm gonna do that right after this show. I have a paid stay coming up like tomorrow night. I've got to make sure I'm linked up there. That's good. I mean, unless this means you're not earning Marriott points for that stay, which would be not good.
That's a good question, and because this was news to me, I was surprised about it, and I hadn't looked into it. But you know what? That's exactly what it is. You choose miles as your earning preference, and American Airlines miles as your preferred partner. Okay, so that's much less exciting.
Forget about that.
and that's worth mentioning, because you could also do that with IHG with American Airlines, and so now we need to differentiate. So with Hyatt, you link up your Hyatt account, and you're going to earn miles based on that partnership, and you're going to earn both. You're going to earn your World of Hyatt points and American Airlines miles. But what we're just talking about with Marriott there is, with most hotel chains, you can choose to earn airline miles instead of hotel points, but that's almost always going to be a horrible deal, because through the chain you'll earn enough points that they're going to be worth far more than whatever the mileage earnings
exactly
are. So,
exactly. Yeah,
so scratch that one off the list.
Okay. Yeah. And our next topic is rental cars, which is kind of similar. I mean, a lot of these rental car companies will let you earn airline miles or rewards in their own program. It's not necessarily, sometimes those programs are so bad, in earning rewards in their own program, that you might as well earn airline miles.
Yeah, and so Avis and Budget have a partnership with American. So if you're a general American Airlines member, you'll earn 2 miles per dollar spent with Avis and Budget. If you have an American Airlines card holder, you earn 3 miles per dollar. If you have gold or platinum status, it's 4 miles per dollar. And if you have Platinum Pro or Executive Platinum, you earn 5 American Airlines miles per dollar spent with Avis and Budget. Now, if Avis and Budget have a loyalty program and points that you can earn, well, I know they have a loyalty program. I know they have elite status. What it's worth or what it means is kind of lost on me. I don't really know.
So that actually sounds pretty good to earn American Airlines miles with those.
I think
as far as what I'm aware of. But with like National, or where they have a real loyalty program where you actually earn real rewards, I wouldn't switch to earning American Airlines miles there.
No, I wouldn't at all. So that's I think all we really need to say about that. Avis and Budget, okay. The rest of them, I would just earn with their respective programs, probably.
Agree.
Okay,
All right.
so then of course on cars we should mention gas too. There's a partnership with Shell, Fuel Rewards. We should mention it, but not for very long because you earn 2 miles per gallon through Shell, and so how many gallons of gas are you going to put in the car this year that's going to move the needle at all? It'll move your gas gauge, but it's not going to move your American Airlines balance needle very far at all.
Right, right, right. All right. So I guess the next major one is probably banking. That there's Bask Bank where you could actually earn American Airlines miles just by keeping money in the bank. What's the deal there?
Yeah, so Bask offers an account that earns American Airlines miles. It earns 2 American Airlines miles per dollar saved per year. So let's say you saved $20,000 and left it there for a year, you'd earn 40,000 American Airlines miles instead of earning interest. So I mean that might not be a bad deal. Now for a while it was less. It was 1 mile or whatever, and interest rates were different. Excuse me. I'm sorry for the coughs there. My apologies. We'll have to mute that when we put this recording together. So anyway, it depends on what you can earn for interest. Actually, with high interest rates right now, maybe you'd be better off with your money in a regular account, but hard to say. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think with today's interest rates, as we're recording this, you can get over 4% cash back in interest. I think even from Bask Bank, I think they're up around that range as an option instead of earning miles. And so if you pick to earn miles, it's like you're paying 2 cents per mile for these miles. And I don't think these miles earn loyalty points. So that to me is way too much to give up cash wise for those miles. So I wouldn't personally do that at all.
And you do still get taxed. Oh man, I got something caught in my throat.
All right. I'll go over the rest of the. So yeah, so
Please.
Nick was going to say that you still do get taxed, so that's not an advantage of earning miles instead of cash in your bank account. Most times when you're earning miles, you're not you're not taxed because it's seen as a rebate from like credit card spend, for example. But in the case of banking or in the case of earning miles by like referring friends, those two situations you do get taxed on the miles. So there's a whole list of other ways you can earn American Airlines miles, but we think of them as pretty niche. So we're
Well,
not going to
wait. But before you say
Oh,
that, Citi also sometimes offers a bonus for opening a checking account, and that
true
is
story.
another one where you will get taxed, but sometimes it's a significant bonus. So we've
That's
seen them
true.
offer something like 60,000 American Airlines miles. Now that usually requires an expensive account that you either need a lot of money to keep fee free, or you need to be okay with paying the monthly maintenance fee for the number of months you need to keep the account open. But it can certainly be worthwhile for the 60,000 miles or whatever it is when they offer that. It's not all the time, but they do offer that now and then. Okay, so two
Yep.
banking options, Bask and Citi.
Good,
Now take it
good,
away.
really good point. So some other things you can do to earn American Airlines miles. There's some like energy companies that'll give you bonuses for paying for power through them. Cruises, you might be able to earn American Airlines miles. You could do. There's various sites where you can earn miles for taking surveys. Boy, I don't recommend that. You're gonna waste a lot of time, not earn very many. At least one of those popular programs doesn't actually pay out often. Like I wrote posts about
Yeah.
that. Boy, I just would not do that. There's the donation for like Stand Up to Cancer, and there's various things like that where you earn miles for the donation. Although I have to say, I did that once and I was really disappointed when I got the receipt because it makes it sound like you're getting miles for the donation. But when you get the receipt, what you see happens is that a portion of the money you spent went to the charity. The rest of it goes to
Oh.
buying the miles. That's something like 2.5 cents each or three
Oh, that's
cents each or
horrible.
whatever it is, which is terrible. So it's terrible in multiple ways. The main way is you think you're giving all this money to charity and you're not. And I find that really disappointing and that it's
Oh my
not
goodness. You didn't
more
write a post
obvious.
about that?
I should. It's been so
You
long since
should.
I
That's
did
yeah.
that I almost have to do it again in order to
Again,
get that
just to make sure,
receipt
yeah.
to make sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's horrible though if that's the case. That's that would be really surprising.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
then
bummer.
I guess last thing, mortgage, getting a mortgage or buying a home. There's various deals where you can earn extra miles doing that. But as Nick wrote in the notes here, you better shop around because it's definitely not worth paying, higher mortgage rates or bigger closing fee in order to earn some miles, usually, unless it's a heck of a lot of miles.
Yeah, yeah. I had the song like playing in my head there. You better shop around, shop
Yeah. Yeah, very
around.
good. All right, so just to sum up from my point of view, the best way to earn miles is by signing up for new cards. The next thing to kind of pay attention to is the shopping portal slash SimplyMiles, like stacking those kind of deals so that you're earning miles when shopping. And you can also earn significant number of miles from hotels if you are okay with not getting the chain benefits, the hotel points from the chain, that kind of thing, by booking through Rocketmiles, for example. I think those are the three main ways you can earn a significant number of miles. And then there's a whole bunch of other
Agreed.
stuff.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
So that gives you, I think, an opportunity to earn quite a few American Airlines miles every year.
There you go.
Okay. So there we have it with the main event. I think that brings us to the question of the week. Now, the
Indeed.
question of the week ties well into, if we go all the way back to the beginning when we had that mailbag thing about, should I convert Ultimate Rewards points to American Airlines miles? This will kind of sort of be related, tangentially anyway. So we got an email from Cargo Pants Finance
Okay.
saying, hey, love your post in the podcast. I was wondering about in the earnings rate category. You value Chase Ultimate Rewards points at 1.5 cents per point, while you value Hyatt points at 2.1 cents per point. Assuming your readers and listeners are looking for at least 2.1 cents per point redemptions on their Hyatt stays, wouldn't they use that as the floor value for their Chase Ultimate Rewards points, since Hyatt is a one-to-one transfer partner? And then he goes on to give some potential reasons why you might not view it that way that aren't really why we don't. So I know we've talked about this once before, but it's been a while and we get new people all the time that may see this and be confused, I thought. So again,
Yeah.
what he's referring to here is our reasonable redemption values. That page lists how much you can reasonably expect to get from various programs, and our reasonable redemption value for Hyatt points is 2.1 cents per point, but our reasonable redemption value for Chase points is, I don't know off the top of my head, about 1.5 cents per
1.5,
point.
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
1.5. So it's actually lower than the rate for Hyatt points. What gives, Greg?
Right, right. It makes no sense at all, does it? I mean, since you can literally transfer one-to-one from Chase to Hyatt, and so you can, it's very reasonable to assume that you'll get 2.1 cents per point value or better. The background on this is that we also think it's reasonable to use your Chase Ultimate Rewards points in other ways. Like if you have a Sapphire Reserve card, it's not bad to use your points by clicking through the Ultimate Rewards portal and booking flights, let's say, and paying with points and getting 1.5 cents per point value. So it's totally reasonable to do that. And if we put 2.1 as our reasonable redemption value, and then people start making decisions, earning Ultimate Rewards points based on this idea that they're going to get 2.1 cents per point value, and then they actually only get 1.5, they're going to be, it's going to go through a whole set of, poor decision making. Now, you can absolutely argue the flip side, which is, well, aren't people making poor decisions the other way? Like, suppose your intent, excuse me, is to transfer the points one-to-one from Ultimate Rewards to Hyatt and book with Hyatt points. Then you might say, well, gee, your reasonable redemption values don't make any sense because it's making, for example, if you went just totally by the reasonable redemption values, you might say, I'm better off putting my spend on a Hyatt card and getting 1 point per dollar than on a similar
Ultimate Rewards
Ultimate
card,
Rewards
yeah.
card, which we don't believe at all. So in a way, unfortunately, because we can't tailor the site to you. We can't magically know that you're going to use all your ultimate rewards points at Hyatt. We can't, change your view of the site to say 2.1, but it goes both ways. And unfortunately, I think it's kind of it's a difficult thing where you just can't get it right in every direction.
Well, the thing is, your points are worth 2.1 cent per point if you use them for Hyatt stays. Sure. That's one of, it's a big F. That's one of the potential uses of ultimate rewards points. And that's why you hear people like us saying that we view our ultimate rewards points like Hyatt points for the most part. We almost exclusively transfer to Hyatt where we know we'll get great value. But if you're traveling somewhere where there's no Hyatt, then it's not worth 2.1 cents to you because you can't use them to stay there. So then you would want to use one of the many other transfer partners or be able to book through the Chase portal at 1.5 cents per point. Like Greg said, that'd be totally reasonable, or certainly you can book with flights. And so when I mentioned flights, if you transfer to Singapore and you book a first class flight with Singapore, well, you're going to get far more than 2.1 cents per point with that redemption. So should we value Chase points based on Singapore first class flights? You could pick any one transfer partner and say there are opportunities to get more. That's the way transferable points work, and that's why we enjoy earning transferable points, because you can cherry pick for the best value. We're giving a floor in terms of what's reasonable at minimum, and at minimum you should be getting 1.5 cents per point out of your ultimate rewards points. And I second guess that description at minimum. Our reasonable redemption values are what you can reasonably expect to get without a lot of effort at maximization, but you can certainly get far more value, and we regularly do get far more value out of our points.
Yep.
Okay. So there you go. There you have it, Cargo Pants Finance. And I know, like I said, we did talk about that at least once before on the show, but it's been quite a while. So I thought that was a great question that came in this week. So if you enjoyed what we've been talking about and you like to get this stuff in your inbox each day or each week, you want to go to frequentmiler.com/subscribe. Again, that's frequentmiler.com/subscribe to join our email list. You can follow us on all the various social media, join our Frequent Miler Insiders Facebook group, wherever you are watching or listening to this. Please leave us some feedback, leave a comment, give us a like, subscribe, enable notifications. All of those things help our channels out, so we appreciate that. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again next week.
Bye, everybody.